911. These three numbers have been the epitome of sports cars and motorsports since the 911 was first introduced in 1964. Over 5 decades later, this iconic car is living stronger than ever. Well, I'm here in Stuttgart, Germany for a very special day. Today is the 1 millionth 911 being produced. Lots of activity. I'm standing in front of the Porsche Museum, which is like hallowed ground for anybody that loves Porsche like me. And you see to my right, your left, a 1964 Porsche 911, the first year they were ever produced, and it's an icon in the industry. It's one of those cars that people really aspire to own, like me, and I've owned 2 of those 1 million. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually get a chance to drive some of these older iconic cars. We're gonna have a look in the museum. We're gonna see the 1 millionth car produced. So put your seatbelt on, everything 911. The Porsche Museum is the ultimate place to learn about the amazing history of this brand, starting right from the very first designs from Ferdinand Porsche in the late 1800s, which was actually an electric carriage. You name it, it's all about Porsche, and it's here. With Porsche's racing heritage, there's a huge assortment of championship race cars and of course trophies as well. And of course, there's every version of 911 that you could imagine. It's truly amazing to be in the presence of such greatness. Well, if you come to Stuttgart, you have to check out the museum, and they have 3 of their 500 cars out for us to drive today. This is an early 80s 81 911 SC, a 92 964, it's called the Carrera 2, it's a cabriolet, and over there is a more modern car, the first of the water-cooled 996s, and we are here to get them out on the road and also see the 1 millionth car being produced. Now, I can clearly remember the very first time I drove a Carrera, and it was this car. Exact same color. Didn't have these seats though. 911 SC. I worked at the racetrack in Toronto in valet parking when I was in high school. And I remember this car pulling in and just salivating over it. And I got a chance to drive it in the parking lot. It was a big parking lot, mind you. And every single time that customer came in, I ran and grabbed this little car, and I just fell in love with just how compact and perfect it was at the time. But it's the weight, it's the size, it's the essence of the car and the feeling you get when you drive it that feels like no other car on the road. There's nothing else that feels like this little car, and it's been true through all the years. The 911 is a special car, and for good reason. Next up, across the street, is the factory where all 911s, Caymans, and Boxsters are made. What is absolutely amazing is that they produce all 3 models at the same time, including different versions. You might have a Targa, then a Coupe, a Boxster, and then a Cabriolet, one after the other. One of the reasons that this work can happen is that the assembly workers are experts in over 200 different tasks. Now it's time for the big event. The 1 millionth 911 coming right off the production line. The color? Irish green, the same color as the first 911 that was delivered to Ferry Porsche in 1964. Green, by the way, happened to be his favorite color. The 1 millionth 911 is based on a Carrera S with a power boost engine delivering 450 horsepower, connected to a 7-speed manual transmission. This 1 millionth vehicle also features various historical accents, like silver surrounds around the instruments. Crests are from the 1964 model. The wheel hub covers have 911 on them. The Porsche and 911 emblems are in gold, and the door handles, mirrors, and grille are in Galvano silver. And of course, there's a very special 1 millionth logo on the car. This really is a one-off car. The interior gets all the custom leather options Porsche offers. The seats have the very cool houndstooth pattern from 1964. The steering wheel is made of handmade mahogany, and there's a 1964 crest. The 1 millionth 911 is not for sale, which is really not a surprise. It will spend the next year traveling all over the world as an ambassador for the brand, and then finally rest at the Porsche Museum. Well, the next car I'm driving is the 964, and every model of 911 has some big firsts, and this one had a lot of them. It was sold from the late 80s until 1994, and it was the first Carrera to be offered with all-wheel drive. It also bumped up the power from 3.2 liters to 3.6 liters and 250 horsepower, and was also most notable for being offered for the first time with an automatic transmission. All right, now I'm driving in the 996, and there's some people that firmly believe that the last of the real Carreras ended with the 993, the last of the air-cooled Carreras. This is the first of the water-cooled cars, and it has been much maligned by enthusiasts in the Porsche family because it was not as good looking as the other cars. It was bigger, it was water-cooled. So this car is always going to be known as kind of like the ugly stepsister in the Carrera family. But getting a chance to drive it again after all these years, I kind of wonder what all the fuss was about, because it sure drives great. Well, if you think about it, Porsche has produced 1 million 911s since 1964. This is a low-volume car in comparison to other manufacturers. It's a special car and a car that people really aspire to own. As they say at Porsche, nobody needs a Porsche, but everybody wants a Porsche. I think it's next year we're going to see the next 911. Can't wait to see that.